Laid back Mickey here.
And Master Trike Tech James.
And today we're going to go over your unanswered questions. Hey, and if you have any questions that you want to ask us, go ahead and put it in the comments below and we'll answer it on our next Q&A video.
Yes, we will.
And the question is, can you put a XXL Boom with a Bosch on a Trike Max?
So currently the answer is no. They do make an XL Boom, which is very cool and fit most people, probably up to, what, 6'7", 6'8".
Yep.
So you got to be really tall to need an XXL Boom. As far as I know, Trike has not told us if they're going to make one, but I wouldn't be surprised if they do. Just don't expect it this year.
Wait, why don't they make an XL Boom for the Max?
No, they don't make an XXL.
And who's asking if they have an XXL Boom?
Somebody really, really tall, I imagine.
I mean, wait, I think that will go up to what, 6'9" though?
Pretty close to that, yeah.
Okay. Okay, so the question is, where do you find fenders for a trike that has wider than 2-inch tires? And the answer is, some companies make them. So like Trike makes their wide fender, which goes mostly on their Ramblers or their all-terrains. I think that's pretty much it. I don't know of anybody else that's making it specifically except for
Ice.
Yes.
Because they have the full fat with a tire literally this wide.
Oh yeah, about 4 inches wide.
And they have a fender that works really well, actually.
Ice or Trike, they make them. The rest, you got to get some plastic and make it your own.
Yeah, because on a trike, the front fenders, especially the front fenders, they are a custom job. They have custom mounting. They have their own little thingies to get it hooked up to there. It's not something you can just strap on like on a bike.
The next question is, on the Stein Trike video that we did, what were those fat tires? And the answer is, I think those were pretty generic tires, but you can get them in what, CST, you can get them in what else?
And Duro. Those are probably the two brands that come to mind. It's not a super common thing right now, but it's most likely up and coming, especially in the trike.
Yeah, the 20-inch tire, you don't see a lot of fat 20-inch tires. So there's not a ton of choices, but you do have some choices out there.
This is something you'll be seeing more for sure, because those small electric folding trikes, a lot of those fat tires seem to be the rage, and I'm beginning to see more of those on the trail. So most likely in the near future, there'll be a bigger selection of them.
Here's another question that we just got. And the question is, I'm concerned about my ice trike. If it is above freezing temperature, will my trike melt? 75% of you watching this video right now are not subscribed. And if you want to see more recumbent trike videos and support this channel, subscribe below. Can you add suspension on trikes after you have purchased it without suspension?
Well, the answer is usually not, except for ice.
Yep.
Ice is a fairly modular frame, and if your frame is current enough, you can retrofit it to have suspension. It just costs money.
Yeah.
Quite often it's not worth it, unless you really, really love the trike you're on. That's the time to make that decision. Should I get a new trike?
Yes, yeah. Maybe if it's 10 years old, maybe you should just buy a new trike. If it's a couple years old, yeah, you could, on an ice trike, you can take the rear section off. You can replace the hubs on the front section, the wheels. There's a lot that you'd probably have to do to it. Wouldn't be cheap, but hey, trikes today aren't always cheap.
Yep. Most of the other companies, the answer is generally no.
Yeah, you can't take a non-suspension Trike 559 and throw it on there. Just wouldn't work. Why don't most shops do custom work on trikes like adding a Bafang motor?
I mean, I like the Bafang. Bafang's a super reliable motor, but it's a lot of power coming through the front. I mean, for general reference, the guy at the end of the Tour de France, which happens to be going on now, puts out just shy of 1,000 watts. So if you have a 750 watt Bafang added to your 200 watts, 900 watts every time you want to do that. It's all about the controllers, and they don't really have a sophisticated controllers like the Shimano here or the Bosch that slowly ramps up the power on the pedal stroke. What that does is it puts a lot of stress across the chain the idler wheels, everything going to the back, it's a special killer on top of the chain tubes. Short term, they work fine. Most people won't notice a problem. It really is a long-term thing and how you ride it. There will be people who ride Bafangs for miles and miles and miles and never have a problem. And then there'll be other people where it's, oh, this thing's destroyed. I got to replace this. This thing is, dude, you have a hole in your chain tube. We see that on not just Bafangs, pretty much a lot of powerful mid-drives. So for the time being, we don't recommend them. But that may change in the future. You never know.
Yeah, you never know as technology changes. But we worked with our hub motor manufacturer for about 6 months to get the ramp-up factor and the programming correct for a trike. We recommend 80% of the time, if you can, go a mid-drive motor like a Bosch or Shimano, and because you could take that to most bike shops, and if they're a certified Shimano or Bosch dealer, they will work on it. And so if you're getting a trike that you want to take to any shop across the country, most shops are good shops are going to be a Bosch dealer, Shimano, because those are the two most popular mid-drives in the world.
Yep, with a lot of support.
A lot of support. So the next question is, on your GreenSpeed that has drum brakes, can you convert it to disc brakes? The answer is not currently, unless it's a new model, but you never know on the older models.
Yeah, I've talked to GreenSpeed actually just the other day, and they said that it is technically possible, but they won't be offering to those parts until well into 2024. That's their current timeline. But
yeah, you're gonna have to change out the hub. You're gonna have to change out your brakes, wheels.
leads the other question: why would you want to do that?
Yeah, I wouldn't. I actually love my drum brakes, and disc brakes are nice if you're going down really fast, steep hills. They're very grabby.
They work great.
They work great, but also, how many drum brakes have we replaced in our shop in the last decade?
One.
And I think that was because the dude crashed it.
I think so.
Yeah. So they're very little maintenance to no maintenance. You take them apart, you clean them, you make sure everything's working properly, it looks good.
Sealed, there's like this much of brake material versus this much of brake material.
Yeah.
Drum brakes are cool, they're just expensive.
Yeah, and you should bring in your disc brakes to be serviced every 6 to 8 months, just to make sure that the pads aren't getting super low. Otherwise, you're gonna have brake problems. Remember the ABCs of maintaining your trike. Make sure you got air in your tires, make sure your brakes work properly, and then make sure your chain is lubed.
That being said, the physics of it all is once you can lock up the wheels, once the tires start skidding, there is no more braking power to be had. And drum brakes do that equally as well as disc brakes. So very little advantage.
There you go. If you like these videos and you want to learn more about recumbent trikes, go ahead and download our free trike buying guide. It's in the description below.